What if disappearing was the most powerful thing you could ever do? Not blocking, not texting back, not proving your worth, just vanishing. No closure, no explanation, just silence and the chaos it leaves behind. You gave her your heart, you gave her your energy, you bled to keep her warm. And what did she give you back? Distance, indifference, or worse, disrespect. But here's the truth most won't say out loud. When she loses a man who truly cared, and that man goes completely cold, her mind becomes her own worst enemy. That silence, it becomes a prison. Every question she never asked, every moment she took for granted, they echo louder in the silence than your voice ever could. This isn't about revenge. This is about resilience. This is about becoming untouchable, emotionally unshakable. A ghost she can't exorcise. You don't beg. You don't explain. You don't even acknowledge the pain she caused. You take that pain and alchemize it into power. You disappear, not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to walk away without a trace. And while she scrambles to understand what happened, you evolve. You rise. If you're tired of being the one who always cares more, if you're done breaking for someone who wouldn't bend for you, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below. My silence is my power. Number 1. Silence screams loudest. She expects noise, a reaction, a late-night text, an outburst, a confession, anything that tells her she still owns space in your mind, because that's how she measures her power, not by your presence, but by your response. But when you give her nothing, no reply, no energy, no explanation, that silence becomes deafening. It echoes in ways your words never could. It's not just quiet, it's psychological warfare. It says, "You don't matter enough anymore to disturb my peace." That's the statement. That's the shift. See, most men collapse when they're heartbroken. They over-communicate. They try to fix things. They chase. But chasing only proves one thing. You value her more than your self-respect. And once she senses that, it's over. She knows she can hurt you and you'll still show up. That makes you predictable. That makes you powerless. But silence? Silence is different. Silence flips the script. Silence forces her to sit with the consequences of her actions, with no distraction, no comfort, no emotional leash to keep you tied. It leaves her with questions. Why did he stop talking? Why didn't he fight for me? Was I never enough? That's when the real regret starts. That's when the fantasy of you grows in her mind, bigger, bolder, more mysterious than ever. In Stoicism, we learn to master the self, not the world. You don't need closure. You don't need revenge. You need control over yourself. You don't punish her with cruelty. You punish her with peace. That's how you vanish. And when she looks for you in every DM, in every memory, in every song, and finds nothing, that's when your silence hits like thunder. Number 2. Emotional mastery is irresistible. A man who can master his emotions is a man no one can control. That's the truth most people never learn. She wants to see you react because reactions give her feedback. Reactions mean she still has a grip on your mind. If you cry, lash out, beg or spiral, she knows she's in control. But when you stay calm, composed and unmoved, that's terrifying to her ego because it means she no longer has influence. You've broken the emotional chain. Look, your heartbreak is real. It hurts like hell, but it's also your test. Most men collapse under emotional pressure. They become desperate, impulsive, and self-destructive. But the Stoic man, he breathes through it. He observes the pain, but he doesn't let the pain command him. He doesn't broadcast his suffering. He contains it. He transmutes it. He sharpens himself with it. Here's the twist she didn't expect. She thought breaking you would make her feel more powerful. But when you refuse to break, when you show no emotional leakage, when your eyes go blank and your focus turns inward, that's when it hits her. She didn't hurt a boy. She awakened a man with discipline, a man who doesn't seek validation, a man who knows his worth is not up for debate. This isn't about pretending. This is about control. You feel the pain, but you choose not to react. That's strength. That's attraction. Because in a world full of men who fold, the one who stands tall in silence becomes unforgettable. That's dark psychology at its core. When you don't give her your emotions, she starts craving them. She starts chasing what you no longer offer. Number 3, you're not a performer in her circus. She wants a show. She wants to see how far you'll go to prove yourself. She wants tears, drama, jealousy, obsession, all of it, because that tells her she still controls the narrative. But here's what changes the game when you stop performing. When you realize you don't owe her a dramatic ending, when you step out of her emotional arena and walk away, silent, unbothered, and unavailable. That's when the curtain drops, and she's left on stage, alone. The truth is, many men get trapped in emotional theater. You get baited into reacting. You try to win her back with grand gestures, long texts, over-explaining. You try to make her understand. But if she valued you, she never would have needed convincing in the first place. Stoicism teaches that peace isn't found in controlling others. It's found in refusing to let them control you. So stop dancing for someone who wouldn't even clap for you. When you remove yourself from the circus, you force her to sit with a version of you she never expected. The one who doesn't need her anymore. The one who's done explaining. The one who doesn't show up to her manipulative games. And once the chaos stops, the silence becomes suffocating. For her, she'll start creating her own drama in her mind. Why isn't he chasing? Did he stop caring? Has he moved on? And just like that, you become the mystery she can't solve. Emotional detachment is not cold, it's self-respect. You're not rude, you're just unavailable to nonsense. You don't argue, you don't plead, you don't give energy where it's not appreciated. And the moment you make that shift is the moment she starts missing the man who once showed up and fearing the man who no longer does. Number 4, mystery is magnetic. Familiarity breeds indifference. Predictability kills attraction. The more she knows your every move, the less she feels your presence. That's why mystery is magnetic. It pulls her in without effort. When you become a ghost, when you stop broadcasting your emotions, your thoughts, your life, that's when you become unforgettable. She can't read you. She can't predict you. And in that silence, she starts to wonder. And wonder turns into obsession. You see, most guys overshare. They post cryptic quotes, desperate updates, fake happiness. They want her to see how okay they are. But true power doesn't seek to be seen. It exists in silence, in absence, in discipline. A Stoic man doesn't advertise his growth. He embodies it. He doesn't scream, "I've moved on." He disappears and lets her imagination do the work. And that imagination, that's where the damage happens. Because she starts building fantasies about what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're so unaffected. Mystery triggers curiosity, and curiosity is addictive. When you cut access, you create scarcity, and scarcity creates value. She doesn't know if you're hurting or thriving. She doesn't know if you're over it or if you never cared. That not knowing starts to eat at her. It disturbs the ego, and the ego hates loose ends. You become the question that won't go away, the story with no closure, the chapter she never got to finish. And that, right there, is your edge. Because while other men are trying to prove their worth, you're off the radar, building, leveling up, staying silent. And when she finally looks back, all she sees is a shadow where you used to be, and a deep, gnawing regret that she'll never voice out loud. Number 5, your absence is a mirror. When you're around, she doesn't have to think. She doesn't have to feel the weight of her choices. She doesn't have to sit with the guilt, the ego, the damage. Your presence gave her comfort, even when she disrespected you. But the moment you vanish, that comfort disappears. And in its place, a mirror. A mirror that reflects everything she tried to avoid. Your absence forces her to look at herself, and that is far more punishing than any words you could ever say. See, when you're gone, truly gone, there's no one left to blame. No one to argue with. No emotional punching bag. Just silence and self-reflection. She'll start replaying every moment she dismissed you, every text she left unread, Every time she chose pride over peace. That silence, it's not empty, it's loaded. It drags her through her own guilt. And that's when regret starts to grow, like a virus in the back of her mind. Most men give their exes an emotional safety net. They hover, they linger, they check in, they post just enough to stay relevant. But that's weakness disguised as hope. A Stoic man does none of that. He removes himself completely, not to hurt her, but to heal himself. And in doing that, he becomes the consequence. Not a threat, not an insult, just the hard truth walking away with dignity. Dark psychology says people don't truly miss you until they realize they can't access you anymore. That access is gone now, and with it goes the illusion of control. She starts to spiral, not because you said anything, but because you said nothing. You left her alone with her own reflection, and for someone who thought they were right, that's a brutal place to be. Number 6, replace her with purpose. You don't heal by filling the void with distractions. You heal by filling it with purpose. Most men try to get over her by jumping into something new. Another woman, another vice, another temporary high. But that's not healing. That's avoidance dressed up as confidence. The Stoic man does something different. He replaces her with purpose. He stops chasing validation and starts chasing discipline, the gym, the business, the mission, the grind. Because when you lock in on purpose, she stops being the center of your universe, and that's when your gravity returns. Here's the brutal truth. The man who's obsessed with her is forgettable. The man who's obsessed with his vision, he becomes unforgettable. When you stop orbiting around her and start building your empire, everything shifts. She starts to feel your absence not just emotionally, but energetically. You no longer text. You no longer watch her stories. You no longer exist in her world. And that space you used to fill, it becomes a vacuum, a silence too loud to ignore. Purpose gives you posture. Purpose gives you power. When your mind is locked into a greater mission, your energy changes. You walk different. You talk different. You don't chase because there's nothing to chase. You're too busy becoming. That's what disturbs her. You're not sad. You're not stuck. You're not spiraling. You're leveling up, and not out of spite, but because your future demands it. And the irony, the more you focus on your purpose, the more she starts to focus on you. That's the paradox of detachment. When you no longer need her, she starts needing your presence, but by then, you'll have outgrown the version of you that once begged for her attention. Number 7. The comeback she'll never see. She expected you to fall apart, to stay broken, to spend months obsessing over what you lost. That's what most do. They stall their own evolution waiting for someone to come back. But you don't come back the same. You disappear, rebuild, and return unrecognizable. That's your power. The comeback she never saw coming. Not loud, not dramatic, just undeniable. The kind that doesn't beg for attention. It commands it. You see, healing isn't about proving her wrong. It's about becoming so right within yourself that her opinion is irrelevant. The Stoic man doesn't announce his rise. He rises in silence. He stacks habits, not headlines. He stacks wins, not words. No posts about how unbothered he is. No fake positivity. Just progress. Relentless, quiet, unstoppable. And the most savage part, you're not doing it for her. You're not even doing it to get over her. You're doing it because your pain lit a fire, because you finally woke up to your potential. And now that she's out of the picture, there's no dead weight, no distractions, no emotional anchors, just you and the road ahead. When she finally checks your page, sees your name, hears about you from someone else, what she sees won't be the man she left. It'll be the man she could have had, but lost. Not bitter, not petty, just evolved. You've transcended her chapter. You've become the plot twist. And that's the kind of power no closure, no apology, no reunion can ever undo. Number 8. Give her nothing. Attention is a drug, and the moment you stop supplying it, withdrawal begins. Most men don't get this. They think being nice after the breakup keeps the door open. They think staying in contact shows maturity. But the truth is, it just shows weakness. You want her to regret losing you. Starve her, emotionally, energetically, completely. Give her nothing. No texts, no reactions, no stories for her to watch. No fake birthday messages, just a cold, clean break. That's how you take your power back. Giving her nothing doesn't make you heartless. It makes you whole. Because every time you reach out, every time you check in, you reopen the wound she left. You put yourself right back in the frame of a story that ended. The Stoic path demands discipline. You don't negotiate with your pain. You don't chase what walked away. You build walls where there used to be bridges, and you burn the blueprint. In dark psychology, this is called psychological scarcity. When you remove access, you create value. When you stop feeding her ego, it shrinks. When you cut the supply of validation, she has no choice but to feel the absence. And the longer you stay silent, the louder that absence becomes. Suddenly, your indifference hits harder than your love ever did. This is the turning point. No breadcrumbs, no "I miss you" traps, no back doors left open. You're not punishing her, you're protecting yourself. Because giving her anything is just giving her permission to keep playing games. And when she realizes you're truly gone, not pretending, not posturing, but gone, that's when the panic starts. Number 9, attraction lives in detachment. The more you want someone, the less they want you. It's cruel, but it's real. That's how human psychology works, especially in relationships. Neediness repels, detachment attracts. The moment she feels you pulling away completely, not out of manipulation, but because you genuinely stopped caring, something primal kicks in. Suddenly, she starts chasing the attention she once took for granted. Because attraction doesn't grow in closeness, it grows in space. Men who operate from emotion constantly try to fix, to convince, to stay relevant. But a man rooted in Stoicism understands. Love without boundaries is self-betrayal. You can care, but from a distance. You can feel, but you don't have to act on it. That's where detachment lives. It's not about being cold, it's about being in control. When you detach, you reclaim your time, your energy, your mental clarity. And ironically, that's when she starts feeling your presence the most. The game flips when she realizes she no longer owns your mind. When she starts sensing that you've truly let go. When she can't trigger you, bait you, or pull you back in. That emotional unavailability, when authentic, becomes power. Why? Because she no longer feels chosen. And when a woman no longer feels chosen by a man she once had in her hand, it destabilizes her ego. She thought she had you forever. Now she's haunted by the silence of a man who moved on without a word. In dark psychology, this is called reverse pursuit. The less you chase, the more they notice. The more you detach, the more they want to be seen by you. But here's the twist. You're no longer watching. You're too focused on becoming. You no longer care if she sees your glow up. You didn't evolve for her. You evolved to never need her again. Number 10. Become a ghost, not a memory. She'll expect you to fade like every other guy, slowly, painfully, leaving trails behind. But you're not every other guy. You don't fade, you vanish. Not as a memory she can file away, but as a ghost that lingers in the background of her mind. Not because you haunt her intentionally, but because she never got to bury you. That's the price of your absence. You're not something she got over. You're something she can't stop replaying. See, a memory is safe. It's complete. It has an ending. But a ghost is unfinished business. It's the echo of something that could have been, but never was. That's who you become when you stop explaining, when you stop chasing, when you stop giving her access to your life, your mind, your soul. She expected closure. She expected the usual ending, tears, apologies, maybe a return. But what she got was silence, distance, mystery. And that uncertainty is what keeps her up at night. This is the final move in Stoic detachment. Not bitterness, not revenge, just total erasure. You don't linger in her life. You disappear so fully that your absence becomes more powerful than your presence ever was. No posts for her to check, no updates for her to analyze, just a clean break and a man who elevated beyond the point of return. That's what makes a ghost unforgettable. Not pain, not drama, but peace. Peace she can't touch, growth she can't witness, a glow-up she can only imagine, and because she never got to see the new version of you, she keeps looping back to the last one she knew, wondering what became of you, what she lost, and why she can't shake the feeling that you were the one who actually got away. You gave her your heart. She treated it like an option. But you're not here to beg. You're not here to explain. You're here to evolve. The moment you chose silence over reaction, purpose over pain, and power over emotion, that's when everything changed. You stopped being the man who waited for closure. You became the ghost she can't escape. This isn't just about walking away. It's about walking into a version of yourself that's untouchable, stoic, focused, emotionally bulletproof. You didn't lose her. You lost the illusion that she was your future. And what you gained instead? Clarity, strength, control. That's the real glow-up. Now she's left with nothing but memories and questions. Why didn't he come back? Did he ever care? And you? You're too busy becoming the man who never needs to ask those kinds of questions again. So here's the final truth. The most powerful move you can make is no move at all. Just vanish. Let her mind destroy itself, trying to fill the silence you left behind. If you're done chasing ghosts, if you're ready to become one, hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment below, "She lost me in silence." I'll see you in the next one. Stay focused, stay stoic, stay gone.